Hello, Irene. We start reading English version of book called Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. So we can get started. Okay, faith versus fear. Oh, that's very important to many. Many just want to start something or try something as well, and overall life, right? So faith versus fear. Previous chapters have described how to develop faith through autosuggestion, desire, and the subconscious. Autosuggestion, desire, and the subconscious. Okay. The next chapter presented detailed instructions for mastery of fear. Here will be found a full description of 6 fears, which are the cause of all discouragement, timidity, procrastination, indifference, indecision, and the lack of ambition, self-reliance, initiative, self-control, and enthusiasm. Search yourself carefully as you study these 6 enemies, as they may exist only in your subconscious mind, where their presence will be hard to detect. Remember, too, as you analyze the 6 ghosts of fear, that they are nothing but ghosts because they exist in only one's mind. Remember also that God's creation of uncontrolled imagination have caused most of the damage people have done to their own minds. Therefore, ghosts can be as dangerous as if they lived and walked on the earth in physical bodies. The ghost of fear and poverty which seized the mind of millions of people in 1929 was so real that it caused the worst business depression this country has ever known. Moreover, this particular ghost still frightens some of us out of which. I don't know book. Okay, because my eyes a little bit tired today, so I don't know why exactly. Okay, but it's okay. It is what it is. Hmm. Where is that? I lost. I completely lost. I just read about the fear. Then really okay. How to overeat the 6 causes fear. Take inventory of yourself as you read this closing chapter and find out how many of God's are standing in your way. Before you can put any portion of this philosophy into successful use, your mind must be prepared to receive it. Yeah, the preparation is not difficult. It begins with study, analysis, and the understanding of 3 enemies which you shall have to clear out. These are indecision, doubt, and fear. The 6th sense will never function while these 3 negatives or any of them remain in your mind. The members of this unholy trio are closely related. Where one is found, the other 2 are close at hand. Indecision is the city of fear. Remember this as you read. Indecision crystallizes into the 2 blend and become fear. The blending process often is slow. This is one reason why these 3 enemies are so dangerous. They germinate and grow without their presence being observed. The remainder of this chapter describes an end which must be attained before the philosophy as a whole can be put into practical use. It also analyzes the condition which has, but lately, reduced a huge number of people to poverty, and it states a truth which must be understood by All who accumulate riches, whether measured in terms of money or a state of mind of far greater value than money. The purpose of this chapter is to turn the spotlight of attention upon the cause and the cure of six basic fears. Before we can master an enemy, we must know its name, its habits, and its place of abode. As you read and analyze yourself carefully and determine which, if any, of the six common fears have attached themselves to you. Do not be deceived by the habits of these subtle enemies. Sometimes they remain hidden in the subconscious mind, where they are difficult to locate and still more difficult to eliminate. The six basic fears. There are six basic fears, which is some combination of which every human suffers at one time or another. Most people are fortunate if they do not suffer from the entire six, named in order of their most common appearance. They are the fear of poverty at the bottom of, the fear of criticism, most of once, the fear of ill health, worries, the fear of loss of love of someone, the fear of old age, the fear of death. Oh my god, I don't have anything. Oh, okay, so I'm so fortunate, of course. All other fears are of minor importance. They can be grouped under these six headings. The free balance of these fears, as occurs to the world, runs in cycles. For almost 6 years, while the depression was on, we floundered in the cycle of fear of poverty. During the World War, we were in the cycle of fear of death, and just following the war, we were in the cycle of fear of ill health, as evidenced by the epidemic of disease, which spread itself all over the world. Fears are nothing more than states of mind. Once in a state of mind is subject to control and direction. Physicians, as everyone knows, are less subject to attack by disease than ordinary laymen, for the reason that physicians do not fear disease. Physicians, without fear of hesitation, have been known to physically contact hundreds of people daily who were suffering from such contagious diseases as smallpox without becoming infected. Their immunity against the disease consisted largely, if not solely, in their absolute lack of fear. Man can create nothing which he does not first conceive in the form of impulse of thought. Following of this statement comes another of still greater importance, namely, man's thought impulses begin immediately to translate themselves into their physical equivalent, whether those thoughts are voluntary or involuntary. Thought impulses which are picked up through the ether by mere chance, thoughts which have been released by other names, may determine one's financial, business, professional, and social destiny just as surely as do the thought impulses in which one creates by intent and design. We are here laying the foundation for the presentation of the fact of great importance to the person who doesn't understand why some people appear to be lucky while others are equal or great ability, training, experience, and the brain capacity seem destined to ride with misfortune. This fact may be explained by the statement that every human being has an ability to completely control his own mind. And with this control, obviously, every person may open his mind to the tramp, thought impulses which are being released by other brains, are closed the doors tightly admit only the impulses of his own choice. Nature has a though, man with absolute control over but one thing, and that is thought. This fact, and coupled with additional fact that everything which man creates begins in the form of a thought, leads in one very near to the principle by which in fear may be mastered. If it is true that all thought has a tendency to clothe itself in its physical equivalent, and this is true beyond any reasonable room for doubt, it is equally true that thought imposes of fear and poverty cannot be translated into terms of courage and the financial gain. The people of America began to think of poverty following the Wall Street crash of 1929. Slowly but surely the mass that was crystallized into its physical equivalent, which was known as a depression. This had to happen. It is in conformity with the laws of nature. The fear of poverty. There can be no compromise between poverty and riches. The two roads that lead to poverty and riches travel in opposite directions. If you want riches, you must refuse to accept any circumstance that leads to toward poverty. The word riches is here used in a broadcast sense, meaning financial, spiritual, mental, and material estates. The starting point of paths that leads to riches is desire. In chapter 1, you received full instructions for the proper use of desire. In this chapter on fear, you have complete instructions for preparing your mind to make practical use of desire. Here, then, is the place to give yourself a challenge which would definitely determine how much decent philosophy you have absorbed. Here is the point at which you can term prophets and foretell accurately what the future holds in store for you. If after reading this chapter you're willing to accept poverty, you may ask what make up your mind to receive poverty. This is one decision you cannot avoid. You can demand riches. Determine what form and how much you will be required to satisfy you. You know the road that leads to riches. You having given a road map which, if followed, will keep you on the road. If you neglect to make the start or stop before you arrive, no one will be to blame but you. This responsibility is yours. No alibi will save you from accepting the responsibility if you now fail or refuse to demand riches of life, because the acceptance calls in for not wanting instantly. The only thing you can control, and that is a state of mind. A state of mind is something that one assumes it cannot be purchased. It must be created. Fear of poverty is a state of mind, nothing else, but is insufficient to destroy one's chances of achievement in any undertaking, a truth which became painfully evident during the Depression. This fear paralyzes the faculty of reason, destroys the faculty of imagination, kills off self-reliance, undermines enthusiasm, discourages initiative, leads to uncertainty of purpose, encourages procrastination, wipes out enthusiasm, and makes self-control an impossibility. It takes a charm from one's personality, destroys the possibility of accurate thinking, diverts and concentrate of effort, it masters persistence, turns the willpower into nothingness, destroys ambition, beat clouds in memory, and invites failure in every conceivable form. It kills love and assassinates in a finer Emotion of heart, discouraging friendship and invites disaster in 100 forms. Literally sleeplessness and misery and unhappiness. Oh my god, I feel so tired. Everything is like, so much negative expression. Okay, and all this and despite an obvious truth that we live in a world of overabundance of everything heart could desire, with nothing standing between us and our desires except a lack of a definite purpose. The pure poverty is, without doubt, the most destructive of the six basic fears. It has been placed at the head of the list because it is the most difficult to master. Considerable courage is required to state the truth about the origin of this fear, and the still greater courage to accept the truth after it has been stated. The pure poverty grew out of man's inherited tendency to prey upon his fellow men economically. Nearly all animals are lower than man and motivated by instinct, by their capacity to think is limited. Therefore, they prey upon one another physically. Man, with this inner sense of intuition, with the capacity to think and the reason, does not eat his fellow man bodily, he gets more satisfaction out of eating him financially. Man is so avaricious that every conceivable law has been passed in to safeguard him from his fellow man. Of all the age of world, of which we know anything, the age in which we live seems to be one that is outstanding because it demands money madness. A man is considered less than the dust of the earth, unless he can display a fat bank account. But if he has money, never mind how he acquired it. He's a king or in a big shot. He's above the law. He rules in politics. He dominates in business, and the whole world about him bows in respect him when he passes. Okay, this book is very made me feel tired, and everything is so negative. Why did I read this book? Okay, it's okay. It's not a big deal. It is what it is. Okay. What's up, Irene? See you tomorrow.